Let's do some drywall.
Hello everybody, today we're just doing some patching. All these holes were cut out by an electrician. He had to run some wires. I think he did more holes than need be, but it is what it is, so we're here to cut it out. A good electrician usually keeps his cutouts, and he also keeps them as small as possible. I've seen electricians cut out like a whole 4 foot by 4 foot section just to run a little wire. So a good electrician only makes small holes so he can get his hand in there and drill a hole to run it through the trusses or the studs, or just to have access to the wire. And they also keep the pieces. I've seen good electricians even reinstall the pieces with wood backing like we do. A bad electrician throws away the pieces, or they just start hacking into the wall without making square cuts. I've seen it all. If you don't cut out the walls square, patches square, then when you go back to repatch them in, you're going to have to spend the time cutting them out square again, installing new sheetrock. You could buy a piece of sheetrock at the store, but usually then you'll have to buy a whole sheet. So it's easier just to cut out the areas small. I've seen guys even use like a 4-inch or a 6-inch round drill bit. Those are ideal because then you just have a bunch of round pucks that will fit in every hole that you cut out. But with this one, electrician kept them all except a larger piece. Of course, the biggest piece he threw away for some reason. Maybe it broke on him, I don't know. But since he didn't keep the piece, now I have to get a whole sheet of drywall. I'm not just going to buy a little piece of sheetrock. I spend a little more and I get a whole sheet. But now I have to go buy a whole sheet, bring in a whole sheet just for one little 1 foot by 1.5 foot piece. But we're going to get all these patches hung, put backing in, wood backing, 1x2s, 2x4s, whatever you have. You want to get everything wood backing first. Make sure you have all the pieces, line up the pieces. Then you go ahead and screw in all the patch pieces in your wood backing that you added. Then you're going to go through and after you get everything hung, you're going to go through and scrape all the patches with a 6-inch knife to get all the goobers. You're going to also notice that we use a spray glue. This is optional. The only reason we're using a little bit of this drywall spray glue is to tack the fiberglass mesh tape to the drywall. Fiberglass tape naturally has a sticky behind it, but it doesn't like to stick to old drywall that great. It'll stay there, but it does fall and peel back. And then we're sitting here mixing mud. We have a pan of mud in one hand, a knife in the other, and the tape falls down. I have to put down my pan and knife, put the tape back on the wall. So that's why I use a spray glue. It's an optional product. It ain't going to change the outcome if you use it or not. If you do use it, a little goes a long way. It's just to tack it up. This is a simple video. Watch and learn how to patch up holes off an electrician. Very common job. This is in a kitchen remodel, of course. So they're just running extra electrical for lighting, fan, whatever they got here. So yeah, watch and learn in the process. And we're also going to use a hot mud. A hot mud's a quick setting mud, a 5-minute mud. This is more of a professional grade material. Of course, if you're not comfortable using mudding, just use an all-purpose joint compound. An all-purpose joint compound, you put it on, it has to dry overnight, and then you sand away your mistakes. With the hot mud, once you add water and you mix up the powder form, it activates it to set up. And once it sets up, it's going to set up like a cement. So you're going to see us how we work with hot muds. We basically put it on, clean up our tools. Right when it's starting to set up, like say this is a 5-minute, it starts setting up anywhere between the 4 to 6 minute mark. We have to slick it out. Basically manipulate the mud, slick it out like a wet sanding slick out technique. And then you turn around and do a second coat. Once that dries, same thing, you got to slick it out before you either do a third coat or texture. This is the hot mud slick out technique that we do. And I'm sure it says on the bag it's sandable, but we never sand hot muds, coating muds like this. We always slick them out. So if you are going to work with a hot mud, you're going to have to slick it out before you walk away from the patch or the work. You don't just put on hot mud and call it a day. You have to at least slick it out before you call it a day, before you do the next step. But yeah, if you haven't done it already, subscribe. You can also leave a comment. But yeah, simple patch job, easy, watch and learn. So go ahead and watch, see how we do it. Thanks for viewing.